Hey students, welcome back. This is Taurus, elbow bump. How are you? Are you doing okay? Is your family okay? Remember, if you need anything, please send me an email and I'm happy to help in whatever way I can. So lucky you, you get to hear my voice for another lecture. But the best part is we will be actually working on our final project in small videos. Yay! This is the first in the series of videos that will help you get through your final statistics project. Let's start with a quick review of the statistical process. And as a reminder, there is a video that goes into this in more depth. I will link it in the description box below. The statistical process is very similar to the scientific process. It's a specific order that you want to conduct the analysis or the investigation so that not only do you not waste time, but you also minimize error. The statistical process has 4 major categories or steps. The first step is identifying the question about the population parameter. So we're going to ask a question about the population, not about the sample, but about the population. The next is that we need to identify the population and we need to identify the sample. And then also we need to figure out how we're going to run this experiment. The next part of the statistical process is gathering all the data. The next step is the descriptive statistics, and that's when we start actually cleaning the data, we start organizing it, we start putting it into spreadsheets and making tables and describing it, and we start checking the assumptions, and we just start doing a lot of work with the data. The last part is the inferential statistics, and that's when we start running tests. It is during this last stage when we are actually running the tests so we can answer our original question about the population parameter using what we learned from that particular sample. So there are 4 steps to null hypothesis testing, and I'm going to go over them really quickly right now, but then we're going to go over it again when we actually get to that step. The 4 steps to null hypothesis testing are hypothesize, prepare, compute to compare, and interpret. So if we were going to match this up and sort of like where they belong in the statistical process, the hypothesize step is in with your question. So that's happening at the very beginning when you're setting up your question. The next 2 steps of hypothesis testing match up with 2 of the categories of the statistical process. So the prepare step and the compute to compare step both fit into the gathering data stage in the statistical process and also into the descriptive statistic stage of the statistical process. Finally, in the last step, the interpret step fits into the inferential statistics category in the statistical process. So you can see how the statistical process has elements of null hypothesis testing. The 2 ideas or the 2 concepts are intertwined. They're working together in order to conduct statistical analysis. I want to start out by looking at the directions and getting an idea of what we're going to do. Okay, so this project has been designed to mirror very much what you would do is if you were working in a statistical setting. Okay, so it says, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit larger and we can read it together. Okay, it says, in this project, you will apply all the steps of null hypothesis statistical testing. That's NHST. That's what that stands for, right? Using U.S. housing data to answer the question. Is there a statistically significant difference between the mean rental values in a city or state between this year and a month and another year and a month? Okay. Your task is to present your findings in a statistical report which includes tables, figures, and references, approximately 4 to 5 pages excluding title page and references. The report must adhere to APA guidelines. Each student will be assigned a unique question. Although you will each have different questions, you can work together to help one another through the process. So basically what you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start off by opening the link to the U.S. housing data. And this is actually a Google Doc, and we can open it here, open hyperlink. All right, so it opened up the hyperlink, and you can see that there is a lot of data. Look at all this data. Woo! All right, and we can get an idea of how much data there is just by kind of going over here and clicking this top left box. And if you look down here, it gives you a count of how many cells are taken up with information. So it says that we've got 259,000 plus cells that have information. But the instructions tell us that we need a city and state, okay? And we also need 2 months that we're going to compare. So let's see what we've got. We always want to kind of look up the data and just kind of get an idea of what's there. And I'm just going to go ahead and scroll. I see the first variable is the city, the next variable is the state, and then it looks like we have a whole bunch of years and months of data. Many years of data. Yeah, it seems to go through 2020, starting at January 2014. So we've got lots and lots of months. So the first thing we really need to do is decide which state we want. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick California, and I'm going to go ahead and look at 2 months. And I'm going to look at January 2014 and January 2015. So we'll just look at the differences between the 2 months, 1 year in time. Now that I've made the selection of the state that I want to study and the 2 months that I want to compare, I'm going to go ahead and go down here to where it says, you may select the state you would like to use for your project, column B. Once you've made your selection, please email me this information and I will assign the years you will compare. Well, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and pick 2, and if there's a problem, then the professor can just reassign me another one. So I went ahead and created a sample email, and this is linked in the description box below, so that if you wanted to paste this and send this to your professor, you can. So in the subject line, you're just going to put variable selection for final project. And the body of the letter says, Dear Professor, I hope this email finds you well. My name is, and I just put my name here, you put yours, obviously, and I am enrolled in Statistics B course, which meets online, or if this is a regular stats course, your stats course that meets online, or your stats course that meets a particular day of the week, whatever it is. Per your instructions for the Stats B final project, I would like to analyze the data for the following variables. Okay, and again, if you're just a regular stats, you're going to change this to stats. Then I have the state, which again, I want to study California. The first month is January 2014, and the next month is January 2015. Okay, so I've gone ahead and told the teacher that this is what I'm interested in studying. Will you please confirm that no other student has requested the same variable? If another student has selected the same variable, please assign me an alternative variable. So that makes it easy for the teacher to say, well, you know, these two can't be compared, but you could have like February 2015, and that would be fine. Thank you very much, respectfully, and then sign it and send it. Okay, so this is here for your use if you choose to use it. It's super easy. You wait for the professor to reply before you move forward. Okay, and basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if anybody else has selected those months and dates. And if nobody has, I will give them to you. If maybe somebody has selected one or both, then I will reassign that so everybody has a different group of data to compare. Now remember, this is the same question. Okay, what's going to change is the state you're working with and 2 different months. So the values that are inside the cells are really what's changing, but the process is going to be very similar compared to what your friends will be doing too. Okay, so that's the first thing we wanted. So what's the big idea? So today's big idea is that the statistical process and the steps of null hypothesis statistical testing work together to answer questions about a population parameter. Okay, to make inferences about that population parameter that we can't see. We're going to be using a sample in order to make those inferences. And there's a specific way to sort of go through the process that will save time, but also more importantly, minimize error. So that's it for today. With that said, don't forget to check your emails, check Blackboard, do your homework, and subscribe to this channel. Even better, hit that notification bell so you know when there are new videos for this course. Okay? This is your teacher, Taurus, saying stay safe, and I will be waiting to give you a virtual elbow bump in the next video. Ciao!